Welcome. My name is Michaela Caliche from the Department of Life Sciences Communication at UW-Madison, and I'm going to present a quick splash talk on the recent research that my colleagues and I are working on looking at divides in public opinion about AI-based policing. So AI technologies are being rapidly developed across industries, including law enforcement. This company, Clearview AI, is growing super rapidly. In 2019 alone, they had 600 new law enforcement agencies use their tool. And last summer, the CEO said that they had over 2,400 agencies using the software. But despite being everywhere, the systematic use of facial recognition by law enforcement is largely unknown. And there has been an increase in public and media scrutiny over the potential biases in AI and facial recognition technology in particular, but the broader ethical, moral, and regulatory considerations of AI-enhanced law enforcement are not really being evaluated before they're being employed across the country. And the companies know this. So anticipating potential for public or policy backlash, companies like Palantir have tried to reframe their AI-based products for police departments specifically as intelligence augmentation rather than artificial intelligence. And they're purposefully reframing it this way in order to prevent engagement with the public on these discussions that we really need to have about the implications of these products. So we conducted a representative survey in 2020 asking US adults about their concern of AI worsening discrimination based on race or ethnicity, as well as their awareness that AI is used for policing. Given the fact that there are very different, obviously, lived experiences between Black and white Americans with regards to racism and policing, it's not surprising that our findings showed that Black Americans are more concerned of AI worsening race-based discrimination as compared to white Americans. When we break down these race-based differences, when we look at perceptions of awareness that law enforcement are using these technologies, we see a bit of a more complex story. Our findings show that there is a gap between white and Black Americans with regards to awareness that AI is being used by police, in that white Americans are less aware of AI being used by law enforcement than Black Americans. And while there is an average increase in awareness as education level increases, as you can see by those with a college degree, the gap in awareness becomes greater between the most educated, as indicated here by these black arrows. Therefore, even though the most educated white Americans tend to be more knowledgeable about AI in general, which is shown here by the yellow bars, their awareness of AI-based crime prediction is much less than that of their Black counterparts. And this gap between Black and white Americans is even greater when we consider gender. So highly educated Black males are almost twice as likely to be aware of police departments using algorithms than highly educated white males. And these last two sets of bars here, this is the group of white Americans especially that should know better, right? These are where our interventions come from. These are the people who are doing the research on these issues, who are creating documentaries like Pre-Crime to expose these problems in society, who are writing New York Times articles, investigative journalists who are really trying to bring these to light. This indicates to us that we're in a bad spot when people who are the ones who are supposed to be creating these interventions and thinking about these problems are those that continue to be unaware of the problems. Responsible AI requires that we have inclusive conversations. This map here shows states where there is some form of facial recognition legislation introduced, but despite suggestions at the federal level of its regulation, there really is no federal policy that regulates AI to protect individuals' civil rights and data privacy. And AI technology is super complex. It's got many positive attributes, but also some potential serious consequences that we really need to consider as a society. And this broader societal debate that I'm talking about really needs to engage a range of stakeholders that includes industry, academia, policymakers, and the public, all kind of jointly examining and evaluating the intended and unintended uses and consequences of AI technology use by law enforcement. The good news is, from our study, both Black and white Americans agree that the public should be at the table and have a say in how we apply these scientific research and technology in society. So there is this kind of willingness to engage by the public, which means we've got to meet them there and start doing that work. Thank you so much. I look forward to taking any questions.